Good evening, friends. We're live again tonight. This is episode 113, and we're going to talk tonight about some crazy talk from Elon Musk and cover the broader cryptocurrency market, get into the stock market some, and wherever you guys want to take it, we'll talk about a number of different things. So we are going to get right into it. First thing we want to do is highlight this tweet that was read around the world, I'm sure, about Tesla and Bitcoin. So again, from Elon Musk, I did check. Tesla did not actually tweet this out under the Tesla profile, and I honestly don't look at the Tesla profile that often, but I looked here briefly, and actually they're not very active. It seems that obviously Elon Musk, being the kind of visible guy that he is with regards to his role at Tesla, he's tweets out all the time, as we know. And I'll just, spoiler alert, for those that are watching the replay or maybe haven't had time today to be kind of watching the news or checking the crypto market or those types of things. Basically this announcement sent Bitcoin and a number of other cryptocurrencies pretty much in a flash or micro crash. I guess I'll use those terms. A number of coins are, on the road to recovery, if you will, or getting back to where they were prior to this announcement, and we'll get to that in a minute. But let's just read it out. So Tesla and Bitcoin. Tesla has suspended vehicle purchases using Bitcoin, which they had announced not too long ago. We're concerned about rapidly increasing use of fossil fuels for Bitcoin mining and transactions, especially coal, which has the worst emissions of any fuel. And of course, they're an electric car company, right? Cryptocurrency is a good idea on many levels, and we believe it has a promising future, but this cannot come at great cost to the environment. Tesla will not be selling any of the Bitcoin that they have, at which they bought a lot, about 1.5 billion, I believe, is the number. We intend to use it for transactions as soon as mining transitions to more sustainable energy. We are also looking at other cryptocurrencies that use less than 1% of Bitcoin's energy/transaction. Now, I'm going to get to the comments here in a minute, but I want to unpack a little bit of this from my perspective. I think this is a surprise, number one. It was certainly not new information to Elon Musk or Tesla, for that matter, or any of the other companies that are adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet, that they're well aware of how Bitcoin is mined, using the computers and all the things. What makes this even more difficult to really understand is, yes, there's a narrative out there that it consumes, all this energy, and yes, there's a push for green energy, all the things. They're an electric car company, but the reality is, in many cases, a lot of the mining companies are using hydroelectricity, from what I understand. I've never been to one of them. Also located in areas where they can have renewable energy. Maybe it's solar, maybe it's wind, a lot of things. So to say that a lot of it is coal, I'm sure there is some, but here's the other thing that's really disingenuous about this. Those that have studied this more than I have, for example, let's look at other industries, the banking industry itself. If you take the whole banking industry and look at the energy consumed, electricity, all the computers that they have to run their banking systems 24/7, all the things. Let's do that comparison before we demonize Bitcoin. Could Bitcoin be more environmentally friendly? Sure. Are there other coins, other tokens that are more efficient? Sure. Any of those that are doing proof of stake versus proof of work, they're going to be using a lot less computer power, obviously. Ethereum, once they move to proof of stake, from what I understand, they're saying 99.9%, free of, any type of electricity, if you will. Of course, there's the general network, the internet, the things that all that works on anyway. But a proof of stake, I would agree, is the better modern approach. It also, allows people to basically earn interest, although you can earn interest on Bitcoin. That's because Bitcoin is used in lending, that type of thing. But, I'm just curious if Elon and Tesla, even maybe for that matter, has not just been under a lot of pressure. There's a narrative out there about, of course, green. Every side of an argument's going to use things at times that help their narrative, but are not necessarily true when you dive into it in more detail. So that being said, I do want to, cover a few of the responses to that, because I thought that some of those were pretty interesting as well. So if we go back and look at this, we can see, let me find my other screen here because I have some of them. So another interesting thing, this is my Twitter feed. So Elon Musk put also out today a survey, basically, if you will, or a survey. We'll call it a questionnaire, asking, do you want Tesla to accept Doge? Now, this went out before his tweet on, on Bitcoin. Let's see what time it went out. It went out really early in the morning, 3:13 a.m. Pretty interesting. Do you want Tesla to accept Doge? Now, of course, all of the ultra Dogecoin fans, and what I mean by that is those that I think it sometimes hype things up, create false narratives as well, say things that are half-truths, all of those things in an effort to, promote Dogecoin, which I think is unnecessary, honestly, but, what are you going to do? They're going to do it anyway. Take this and then also combine that with Elon's tweet about Bitcoin, and then they come to the conclusion that, Dogecoin's going to be what replaces Bitcoin at Tesla because of the statement that he made. There's no way to draw that conclusion. There's no way to draw that conclusion other than wishful thinking, hoping. Maybe it's what he has in mind, but there's no way to, in my way of thinking, to come to that conclusion. Now, here's an interesting response from Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban says, we at Mavs.com will continue to accept Bitcoin, Ethereum, Doge because we know that replacing gold as a store of value will help the environment. And shrinking big bank and coin usage will benefit society and the environment. I really don't want to get into the political ramifications of all of these different things. I'm not sure that either one of them are right with regards to their characterization. Again, I don't want to get into it. I'm just trying to kind of, cover what was said today and the different responses, that type of thing. So, gold, yes, is a store of value, but, no one's buying goods and services with gold. And for that matter, I'm not so certain that many people, at least, especially a Mavericks ticket, although Mark Cuban says that, it's growing every day. Maybe it is. But with the gas fees on Ethereum, for example, with Bitcoin being more of a asset, a store of value versus an instrument that you would use to buy goods and services every day, I don't see those being used all that often. That Dogecoin, maybe more so, but also I've noticed that the volume on Dogecoin has gone down considerably, it seems, over the last couple of days. And we can get into the pricing here after a while as well. But let's look and see. I want to also cover a few more things that I think are interesting. So that's really it. I mean, this statement from Elon created a, again, a micro crash on Bitcoin. But Bitcoin, I'm going to look over here for a second. Bitcoin has not really fully recovered. I mean, it went down, I think, as low as 43,000. Would have been a great time to buy had you caught it, or could you have caught it? It also, was almost to 60 again. I think its high was 59. Let's want to actually pull up my Webull app, because that will be easier for me. And we'll take a look at it. But nonetheless, let me show you, while I'm waiting on that to come up, another article that came out here on Cointelegraph today. Which green cryptocurrency is Tesla likely to add for payments? Actually, let me show you one other thing before we look at that as well. Of course, there's been some that in that vein that have offered up some options here. Here's the breakdown in kilowatt hours consumed per transaction for a number of cryptocurrencies. Now, keep in mind that not all of these quote unquote coins or tokens have the same use case. So it's not it's not a complete comparison or a fair comparison in some ways to say that any one of these could replace Bitcoin with regards to Bitcoin's primary use case, which is a store of value. If we just look at it purely on the amount of kilowatt hours consumed, I'm sure these numbers are accurate. XRP, I guess, is the lowest. Dogecoin it's interesting because Dogecoin is mined, so I don't know why, but I guess it's a copy of Litecoin. I don't know exactly all the differences, so I'm kind of curious why it's not closer to Litecoin. But nonetheless, Dogecoin next, Cardano, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and then Bitcoin. So, interesting response there. So yeah, want to show you guys a video that was on Yahoo Finance today, talking about Ethereum, because here's an interesting thing that I can show you as well. So around 7:05 p.m. today, and I'm sure there was a number of coins that this happened to. I've only brought up two of them, but Cardano here, if we look at it, you can see that at 7:05 or 7 p.m., it took a flash crash, if you will, or flash dip, and then pretty much right back up 10 minutes later. We're talking 10 cents, which, that can be a lot. This also brings up a good point. And hey, Mad Dog, I'm doing good. Thanks for joining tonight. This also brings up a point of, not panic selling. Now, again, I'm going to characterize something, and some people won't like me for this, but there's a difference between suggesting that someone is panic selling because they sell Dogecoin, for example, because they're done with the ups and downs, not knowing what its long-term prospects are. And again, you can sell anytime you want, but some of these more mature coins, that have a lot of people buying and selling them, we've got to keep in mind that a lot of people take these dips as an opportunity to buy more. If you don't have any more money to buy, that doesn't mean you have to sell. Hold on to it, and many of these are going to recover. Again, you got to kind of look into what's going on. I do know that some people, quote unquote, panic. Sure, there is a real type of person that's really panicking. In other words, they actually don't want to sell, but they get afraid and they sell, right? So something like a Cardano, I would argue, or, if we pull up, let's look at price. Let's pull up another one here that did the same thing. So if we look at, I'm going to assume, I didn't actually pull up Chainlink earlier, but I'm going to assume it took a similar thing exactly right here at 705, dropped down to 39.40, and went back up. Basically, started almost going up immediately, at least within 10-minute increments. I guess that's the increments that are used here. So on the day, also, if we look at it, it's pretty sad, if you will, that we had. If I sort this by percent change, basically now Bitcoin is back into the green, but everything else, all the stocks that I typically look at, those that are in my portfolio, those that are in my wish list, they're all down today. VeChain here down 14% today. XRP down almost 11%. Palantir had really good earnings report, but yet they're down by 6.5%. Palantir also, by the way, came out and suggested that they're going to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet and also allow their customers to pay them in Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has a lot of momentum behind it. People that sold at that 43,000 level, 44,000 level, that's exactly what the whales want. That way they can accumulate more. And, the whales especially, and I'm sure others, but the whales have sophisticated systems that are driven literally by artificial intelligence, machine learning, all of that. A lot of that's programmatic, and it just happens, and it executes based upon goals that they're, potentially changing on an ongoing basis. But nonetheless, all of these down, PayPal down, Neo down. I think Neo's still a really good buy, especially at 33. PayPal, all of these, I would say, if you have money, are likely good buys. I'm not saying that they're at the lowest that they're going to be, but look at Tesla. It closed at 589, and it was high as 620, so it dropped quite a bit. Percentage-wise, only 4%, but it changed $27. So everything's down. Everything's down. That's the point, basically. So let's watch this video, and then I want to get to the comments. This video is from the co-founder of Magnetic Managing, which I've never heard of before, but I guess they're seen as subject matter experts in cryptocurrency. In this video, the lady talks about Ethereum and then talks about Bitcoin towards the end. I'm only going to show the part where she talks about Ethereum. I'm very bullish on Ethereum. I think that although this is not financial advice, this is investment opportunity, or investment opinion, if you will. I think Ethereum would have been a great buy earlier today. It's recovered most of what it had lost. It had anyway. It's down to 39 and change, but it's still recovered fairly quickly, given what happened to so many things. It's still technically in the red today as far as percentage change. But, for those that held, which I did as well, I have some Ethereum in my portfolio I held. And my overall portfolio, for a 3-month period is still at, of course it changes every second literally, but it's in the 100% plus. So I'm happy. So let's play this video, and then I will kind of pause it here every once in a while and talk through it. And then we're going to get to some of the comments.
I want to shift over to another thing. Speaking of space, to the moon has been where we've seen cryptos take off here in 2021. Not just Bitcoin, but Ethereum outpacing that. We've seen it hit a number of all-time highs here in the last couple weeks. It's up 378% year to date.
So this first portion of the video, just so you know, they're basically showing a interview that was done back in January, and then now, or here in a minute, you'll also see a follow-up video where this lady came back on the show on the 7th, just a few days ago.
Bitcoin's 92% run on the year. To our next guest's credit, though, she called that exactly right back in January when Ether was still around $1,100 per coin, right here on this show. Take a listen to that.
So Ethereum is definitely very undervalued, and I think if it breaks its all-time high of 1,400, we'll see the price of Ethereum test the mid 3,000s. There's a lot of value that's going to come out of this chain, and it's definitely being overlooked, and it's misunderstood, I think, by a lot of investors that are just getting their feet wet to understand the ecosystem as a whole.
Misunderstood and undervalued. So where do we go from here? Let's bring her back in. Joining us is Megan Casper, Magnetic Managing Director and co-founder, back on the show. Megan, good to be chatting again. You called it. So, we're here in those mid 3,000 levels. So what's next?
Well, since January, we've had 2 major network announcements for upgrades on Ethereum, which are a part of the Ethereum 2.0 rollout. This will be the EPI 1159 in July, and then the shift from proof of work to proof of stake in November or December. These changes will...
So I'll pause it for a minute. One of the things that I want to add while I'm thinking about it, as amazing as it sounds that Bitcoin could literally during this bull cycle get up to 100,000, many are saying, 150, possibly even 200,000. What's equally true is that if the analysts like Megan here are correct in what they're looking at, Ethereum will still, by percentage, outperform Bitcoin. And so other than, being diversified, one could, consider an idea where you buy more Ethereum and, if you have limited funds, invest more in Ethereum, maybe you get a portion of a Bitcoin or whatever, but try to pile up on as much Ethereum as you can, and obviously be diversified in some of the other altcoins and some other stocks, that type of thing. I wouldn't buy any stocks. Well, I shouldn't say I wouldn't buy any stocks right now. There are some that are arguably cheap, but let's keep going here.
Will make Ethereum's transaction fee structure shift. Fees are going to be burnt. The asset itself will be deflationary, and there will be a negative inflation rate. We'll also see the elimination of mining, which the shift of proof of stake will, for block validation, reduces carbon footprint by 99.9%, making Ethereum a green technology. So these two.
So of course that's a buzzword these days, green technology, and hey, that's great, in many ways that, obviously if we can save, energy, reduce the carbon footprint, all of that's great. I wouldn't say, compared to, for example, Bitcoin, because again, that's another thing that I believe is happening, with a lot of people making a comparison between Bitcoin and Ethereum as though they are the same thing, or one being a variation of the other. Yes, they are both cryptocurrencies, but Bitcoin is not designed to do any of the same kind of things that Ethereum could do. Could it be redesigned to do some of that and also be proof of stake? Sure. Is it what people are wanting in mass? I would say no. They want a store of value, something like gold, but easier to move than gold, cheaper to produce than gold. All the advantages of a store of value, but also a much more efficient than gold. Now, you could argue whether that's a good thing for us to do or not. I'm not going to really go there, but nonetheless, Bitcoin, gold 2.0, store of value, Ethereum, basically Web 3.0, decentralized finance, DEX or decentralized exchanges, and NFTs, smart contracts, all of that. Bitcoin does none of that for the most part. Ethereum does, Ripple does. You can see that there, Cardano, and a host of others. So let's keep going.
2 updates on the network alone could push Ethereum to $1 trillion market cap, which is where Bitcoin is at today. That would make it.
Now I got to stop there again for just a minute. $1 trillion market cap. As you said, that's where Bitcoin is right now. There are many that think that maybe not this bull cycle, but maybe in the next bull cycle that Ethereum may flip Bitcoin with regards to which one, Ethereum being worth more market cap wise than Bitcoin. Again, we're not talking about because that it flips that all of a sudden it is also now a store of value, for example, or replaces Bitcoin. We're not talking about the use cases changing or anything like that. We're purely talking about the market cap and not even the value per coin. It's possible, likely, that maybe Bitcoin will always be per token more, but at some point, Ethereum's going to be, growing potentially even faster. I can't even fathom, what she's about to say with regards to what the price could ultimately be.
Ethereum around $8,000 to $10,000 a coin. We're seeing in the derivatives market for today and tomorrow, there's about a strike price of 3,500. So this price could stay. This could be a really good sign of an entry point to come into Ethereum now if you're not already holding it, because on May 14th we start to see those strike prices increase to about 4,000. This Tuesday, $9,000, $8,000 priced Ethereum derivatives contracts were purchased, and that.
So let me stop it for a minute. Number one, I apologize. The video clarity is not really, has nothing to do with the computer or my connection. If you watch the video yourself, I think you'll have you'll notice that there was some problems with the audio. But did you get that? Derivatives, where they're buying already the right to pay, or if you will, or to buy Ethereum for $9,000. That's just crazy. Wow.
Expiry date is for June 25th. So the price is going to drastically increase as these shifts and changes happen to the network.
Yeah. So 8 to 10,000, your next levels there to watch here, potentially by the end of the year. And now you say it would be a good time to get in, despite the fact that we are at all-time highs. And just to kind of return to those points you're making, maybe translate it a bit more into things that non-crypto people might be able to understand. When we're talking about mining and the way that proof of work works, people are confirming transaction. Those miners like Bitcoin take a lot of energy. When you shift to proof of stake, people can stake their crypto, their Ethereum on the network, and it reduces kind of that energy demand, right? And we've heard that from a lot of institutions.
And I'm going to stop for a minute, more so for those that are maybe new to cryptocurrency. With proof of stake, not only is it used for, in essence, voting, and you have these staking pools, but you can earn, call it rewards, call it dividends, call it interest. And I've talked about this in videos, in a number of my other live streams previously. But, and you can already earn interest on Ethereum. You can earn interest on Bitcoin, even though it's not a proof of stake. But, most newer tokens that are being invented, if you will, are some variation of proof of stake. And so you can earn interest. And I think here in a minute, if I might have missed it, she already said it, but she's about to say, if she hasn't already said it, that she sees a day where Ethereum is $100,000. So if that's true, if it's going to be there, especially if it's in the next 5 to 10 years, my position is do whatever I got to do to get as many Ethereum as I can get.
Investors, Kevin O'Leary being one of them from Shark Tank, talking about blood coins from China and how he doesn't necessarily want to lean on Chinese mining here. How much more do these changes maybe attract institutional dollars on the margin, and how much is that a piece of your driving thesis to reach 8 to 10,000?
I think 8 to 10,000 is just incorporating the shifts alone. Institutional investment coming into Ethereum could put Ethereum up to about 100,000 in the next few years. Institutions are mandating that they invest in clean, green technologies, and that's what Ethereum is becoming. Unfortunately, Bitcoin's proof of work network will not be that unless they choose to shift as well.
So I'm going to end it there. I do want to get back to the comments, and I'll also have some thoughts on this to share. So, So if you got thoughts, comments, please just put them in the chat, and we'll be happy to acknowledge you and get to those. So let's go back to talk about this for a minute. The future of Ethereum. Now, if the future of Ethereum is $100,000, what's the future of something like XRP? I talked about XRP some last night, and this also brings up the point that there's so much clickbait on YouTube that it's crazy. I saw one today that said XRP wins case with SEC, and then of course I searched far and wide and couldn't find that anywhere. Just be aware that that's going on out there, and I'll do my best to never say something that isn't actually occurred. I'll try to find multiple sources. We all rely on the internet a lot, and it can be wrong sometimes, and I would be the first to admit if I said something based upon sources that turned out to be false. And even saying that, there are some that are like, is it possible that Elon Musk Twitter account got hacked? But if that's the case, you would think that Tesla would have made it right on their profile, or Elon would have gone to a news outlet to make sure that everyone knew that it didn't come from him, because that was heavily reported. CNBC, Yahoo, every place you can imagine, they were talking about that tweet. So XRP, Cardano, Matic, Polkadot, a lot of these different alternatives, if you will, to Ethereum are going to probably have a piece of the pie. Whether they will ever get to the same level per coin as Ethereum, it's possible, not probably as quickly. It's just like whoever's out of the gate first, especially if you're, if you've lapped someone multiple times, right, then it's going to take a while for competitors to catch up. If XRP wins their battle with the SEC, I'm sure that there's a lot of pent up demand for that coin, so I would suggest you be watching that. One of the co-founders has been dumping millions and millions of XRP because a part of his departure, his golden parachute was he got a lot of coins, and he's been selling them off, and I think the last wave of those is in May, and he will probably sell them. And if you take that downward pressure away, and also should they win again their SEC battle, then who knows what could happen with XRP? Maybe it's $5. I don't know. And then I'll briefly mention, and then we'll move on to some other things. Cardano. I'm very bullish on Cardano. A lot of people say with them, hey, it's vaporware right now, but they're again, as I mentioned last night, they are starting to have some good things, I think, go their way. They're going to be really active in the continent of Africa. They had a meeting with the governor of Wyoming and other, I guess, municipal and government, state government officials there in Wyoming. And I don't know if the Cardano founder lives in Wyoming. I think he might, or somewhere up there in that part of the country. Cardano brings with it a lot of promise. Again, it is much faster the number of transactions per second that it can theoretically produce is massive. XRP is very well suited performance-wise as well. They're both much cheaper on the transactions. XRP has been embraced by the IMF, World Bank. So they've got their heels in the banking system. And again, I can't talk enough about, I don't think, the potential with XRP, not only as a solution, but for investors. So let's look for a minute too at, and we'll get back to the comments, but let's look at the CPI, Consumer Price Index. I'm not going to go into all of what it is, but there's normally at least a annual report of what is believed to be the Consumer Price Index, or basically an indication of inflation. And Michael Saylor, is a maximalist with regards to Bitcoin, thinks that that's the only thing you need. I only say that so you have some context, but he talks a lot about inflation. He suggested it's more like 15%. Traditionally, I think CPI has been around 2 to 3, something like that. But I would assume that most people, with the pandemic, still being an issue, and still a lot of people unemployed, and business not being what it had been, although I believe it's picking up. I know it is for us and what I do. But all of that, people are not getting paid. I don't think, generally speaking, people are not getting raises. They're not getting paid more. And inflation is worse than it's been in a long, long time. 2008, I think, or something along those lines is maybe what they're comparing. So let's read a little bit of this, and then I'm going to get to some of the comments. But CPI report shows April inflation faster than expected, highest since 2008. There it is right in front of me. Nearly all major components of the CPI increased in April, a sign that a pent-up demand is fueling a rebound in economic mobility. Gas is up. Goods and services are up. You've got dog food that used to be 55 pounds. It's now 52 pounds. Same packaging, everything, same size. You've got, as silly as it sounds, mixed nuts that are now, again, same packaging size, just got more air in it. You're paying the same amount. So a lot of, companies are trying to not change price, but basically they are changing price on you because they're putting less into what it is that they've been selling, paper towels, for example, all those kinds of things. So the U.S. consumer price rose to 4.2% in 12 months through April, the fastest pace since 2008, which we already read. The Labor Department's Bureau of Labor Statistics reported, and that was today. That this is also likely a reason why the stock market was, so bad today with regards to performance. The latest reading of the Consumer Price Index inflation report exceeded economist average estimate of 3.6, and it compares with a 2.6 increase reported last month. So, let's just be real without getting political. I don't think you have to get political when you talk about the fact that we printed in 2020 1/5, of all dollars, or all money ever printed in the history of the United States, 1/5 of that was basically created in 2020, and I'm sure that we're on pace for something similar to that in 2021 with stimulus packages that are 1 trillion, and they're preparing to do more, and that's obviously why people also want to get into cryptocurrencies. And again, for those of you that are maybe newer to this, go and watch some of my other videos in this string of live streams where I talk about how you can earn interest, 9% interest on, in essence, the equivalent of $1, 5.25% interest on Ethereum, 6.25% interest on Bitcoin, and a number of others. Go check out Voyager. I'll pull up that link here in a minute, but you can get it in the description. I like Voyager because it's easy to buy and sell crypto there, and you can earn interest on a good number of the best performing crypto, and a number of those, obviously any of those you can also buy fractional shares. So Mad Dog, think I need to get a few of those Ethereum. Hey, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just not getting back to the comments, but here's the deal. If I had here, it's really interesting. I'm going to pull up Robinhood because here, just real quick while I'm talking. Robinhood, on their app, I don't know why on their app it shows it and nowhere else can you find it, but on their app, and I'm going to pull it up here in just a second, Ethereum shows to have gone as low as where did I see it? That's probably not going to show now if I do live. Anyway, there was a point when I looked it up and I captured the screen on my phone. I'm not going to be able to pull it up again. I know how I can do this. Sorry. I'm going to change. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to pull this up for a second. So if you can see here, my picture almost covers it up, but you can look up there and it shows a low of 3367.13. But as I was saying, that would have been an amazing purchase because it's back up to 39, as you can see. Who knows, later this morning or later this evening, however you want to think about that, it could very easily break into 4,000 again, on its way to that 5,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000. It could not do that as well, but it's likely to, and would have been a great buy. Of course, you would have had to been very, very quick. You maybe have already had a limit buy type of order, something, because that happened probably in a flash, and only the most sophisticated probably got it at that low of a price because of their automated buying, artificial intelligence, all that kind of stuff. So, but I just thought that was interesting. But yeah, I think getting as much Ethereum as you can is a great idea. And like I was saying, if I had an extra, even right now at $3,900, I'd be buying more. Because again, it's a no-brainer if you believe the those that are calling a $5,000, and literally, maybe by the end of this week, probably by the end of next week for sure. And then, as we heard, people buying, futures, derivatives, to purchase Ethereum at $8,000 and $9,000. Now they can choose not to execute those, and if it's above that, they can even choose to sell those if they want. I don't know why. I don't know why they would, unless they can get more by selling it versus taking possession of the coin. The other thing I'll mention that I thought was really insightful from that video from Megan, there on Yahoo Finance. I just thought it was insightful that, just the network changes alone to Ethereum, they believe that the $8,000 to $9,000 is baked into that, and that with institutional involvement, in the years ahead, 100,000. She only talked about. I don't know if I don't know if it'll be 100,000 this year, but again, many other analysts are saying Ethereum to in the 20,000 range. 20,000 to 30,000, something like that, by some time around October or so. The real question is, in my mind, is when is this bull cycle, quote unquote, going to be over? Will Bitcoin go into a super cycle where it basically ignores the typical pattern that it goes into when the halving happens, when basically the miners will only then be able to mine half of what they had in the previous cycle? I think it's 200,000 Bitcoin. Also an interesting tidbit, 2140 is the year where all the Bitcoin will have been mined, and then we'll have 21 million. It'll be limited at that point. There'll never be any more than 21 million. I also thought it was interesting that they were talking about Ethereum and that it would be deflationary. Now, I don't know if that means, I guess they're going to continue to burn, even with it being proof of stake. I'm assuming that it's not going to be a fixed supply, but still, nonetheless, with the strategy, I guess, that they built into the code and with the programmatic burning of Ethereum, it will be deflationary. And obviously, if something's, deflationary, at some point, that's going to cause it's still going to make it somewhat scarce. And obviously, if Ethereum is going to survive, it would seem to me they're going to have to get the transaction cost, in ETH down considerably, because again, Cardano and XRP and other protocols that are out there, level 2 protocols, are making it much, much cheaper transactionally. A lot of people are talking about this week how Ethereum, just to do a Uniswap, right, to swap from one coin to another, some of the fees are going in the $200 range, which is kind of crazy. So that's going to have to also improve, I think, or if it doesn't, Ethereum will have its niche, obviously, I'm sure, but then that just leaves a lot more room for Cardano and XRP and others. And I would think that is going to behoove those that maintain Ethereum and continue to improve it to get the transaction cost down considerably. So let's see here. I want to also get to that one other article because I thought it was kind of interesting. On Cointelegraph, which green cryptocurrency is Tesla likely to add for payments? Of course, this is super speculative. We already know that Elon, sent out that questionnaire, if you will, or that survey to see who would want them to take on Dogecoin, and we know he's a big fan of it, so maybe they do. But here's, I think, and I know I say this a lot, but I think this is for many of these companies, as cool as I think it is, I also think that it's a marketing ploy, because again, I'm not convinced that people are going to spend their assets on things unless we're talking about people that have been in cryptocurrency for years, a decade, maybe and a half, just tons of coins that have appreciated considerably, and it's going to be long-term capital gains, and we're talking 20%, 30% maybe if you're in California or New York, which is still pretty significant, but that's still cheaper than their base tax rate. And oh, by the way, you may want to look into I Trust Capital. I've looked into it some. I'm going to look into it some more. You can get a Roth IRA, self-directed, in the sense that you can, fund it and then buy cryptocurrencies and basically, reduce your taxes considerably. Okay, so let's look at this real quick. Which green cryptocurrencies is Tesla likely to add for payments? We already know that Elon Musk revealed that BTC transactions would be halted due to environmental concerns. We're going to assume right now that that was legitimately from him. And over here it says that it lost 6%. Of course, again, if you could wait, for those that were just held, they'd be okay. Musk notes that while Tesla waits for Bitcoin to move to renewable energy, again, a lot of it already is, so I don't know what they're talking about there. And I don't know why we can't actually see. This is another interesting thing, right? If you think about it, although it doesn't show it here, on that original tweet, it was a graphic, right? Not regular text. So that's super strange. It's like someone took a picture of something being typed up, something like that. So I don't know how that happened. I don't know why that happened. Social influencer The Crypto Poet told his 45,000 Twitter followers that he predicts Tesla will either use ETH or XRP. That's really interesting to me. It's certainly cheap. XRP is very inexpensive right now, so they would still have to say that you need a ton of them, right? So I didn't mean to actually pull that up. Ethereum or XRP, and many have taken this to think that, Bitcoin's being replaced by Ethereum or XRP. Again, think about the fact that what are they talking about? They're talking about switching out Bitcoin as a means of buying goods and services. So not only does Tesla believe that Bitcoin is a store of value, that's the only reason they would add it onto their balance sheet. They also, had believed, at least, maybe they've changed their mind, that you could also use it as a means of buying goods and services. The honest truth is Bitcoin doesn't really fit very well for that anyway, in my opinion. So this may also be a way for them to backtrack the Bitcoin thing, look good to a lot of people, look very environmentally conscious, and then also move to something that's cheaper possibly to transact with. So who knows? However, user Massimo pointed out that if Tesla uses ETH in the current state, which is proof of work, just like Bitcoin does, it might as well be staying with BTC. So apparently, even in its current state of proof of work, Ethereum uses less energy. According to an analyst from TRG Data Centers, Bitcoin is estimated to average around, we know that part. Ethereum consumes an estimated 62.56 per transaction, which is considerably less, right? 1/10 roughly or so, something like that. Currently secured using the same energy efficient consensus method as Bitcoin. Inefficient, proof of work. Digiconomist estimates the Ethereum network's annual carbon footprint is comparable to that of the country of the Sudan. Okay. And as we know, ETH 2.0 with proof of stake will solve the problem of mining. Let's see what else. Ripple could be Tesla's choice in the immediate term, depending on the SEC lawsuit, as XRP tokens were pre-minted and XRP transactions incur a tiny amount of energy of just 0.0079. Ripple Ripple regularly puts out blog posts and release touting how energy efficient it is. Stellar XLM, this is another one that that I have on my wish list. Also follows the model of XRP. Stellar Consensus Protocol. Less energy than the proof of work and proof of stake models. Algorand, I'm not going to read through all of that because I don't know as much about that. Dogecoin, it's interesting. Let's see here. Dogecoin could be the dark horse, dark dog. The meme coin actually piggybacks much of its mining on the Litecoin network, which uses proof of work, but while Bitcoin mining employs the ultra-complex algorithm, Dogecoin and Litecoin, are mined using script, which is energy efficient and quicker. Interestingly enough, while TRG Data Centers puts LTC power usage at 18.522, Dogecoin is estimated to use just 0.12. So it is very efficient compared to even Litecoin, definitely compared to Bitcoin. So, hey, if they want to start taking Dogecoin for payment, why not in one sense? Who's to say they can't or shouldn't? They're still going to keep Bitcoin on their balance sheet as a hedge against inflation and as a store of value. Dogecoin doesn't really have that characteristic or was really not even created for that. And here was the tweet that we looked at earlier as well. Do you want Tesla to accept Doge? Overwhelming response was yes. Wow, 3 million votes. That's pretty amazing. 3 million votes, 343,000 likes, 87,000 comments. Don't know how many times it was shared, but quite a bit, I'm sure. So I think we're going to call it an end to the stream tonight. Do want to actually bring up a few things before we do that, so hang with me just for a few more minutes. I am also going to pull up the Voyager. You can go to strammel.info/Voyager. You can go to Voyager.com and completely not use my link, and that'd be fine as well. I do get, we both get something though. If you use my code, get I think it's $25 of Bitcoin after you basically buy $100 worth of crypto. They have some really good programs on interest. They have a really good loyalty program. I'm not sponsored by them. I just happen to like the platform. It's simple to use. It's easy. They have 95% of the top 10, if you will, of the crypto that is kind of in my wish list. Some of them I actually have, but they have Cardano, they have Ethereum, Bitcoin, XRP, believe it or not. It's one of the few places that you can get XRP, XLM, Tezos, Matic, I believe, which used to be Polygon, or Polygon used to be Matic, one of the two. I can't keep up with it all. But anyway, go check out Voyager and come back tomorrow night. It'll be episode 114. Almost said 1,000. We're not there yet. But please like and subscribe. Turn on notifications. Come follow me on Twitter at Shane Trammel. Also on Instagram. And we'll be back tomorrow. All right. Bye.